Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of the Comic Couch podcast. I am Boy. Today with us we have Jilly.
Good day.
And Blackjack.
Hello.
Now, to start off to this episode, we are going to talk about DC TV, specifically Arrow first, and Matt Ryan is returning as Constantine.
It's good stuff.
Kind of came out of, well, I think one of the producers mentioned on Twitter the day of their kind of showcasing event, you know, WB and the CW, that there was a surprise, but I honestly didn't think that they would just have him pop up in an episode. I thought that they would, you know, pick up the series first and then consider putting him in an episode, but I mean, it's cool nonetheless.
Yeah. Apparently, or so it was said, it's a one and done deal. Kind of like, you know, he'll be coming in. What episode was it? The 6th or 7th episode into the season, pretty early on.
Yeah.
And that it would be just kind of a one and done deal. I don't believe that one bit. Maybe it'll be his only appearance in season 4, but I can't. I mean, it's a squandered opportunity if they don't use him in future seasons, in my opinion.
Yeah. I feel like it'll probably be something where they'll bring him in maybe in that episode, and then after that he might not show up for long. But I feel like he's in that universe now. They'll have him show up at some point, maybe in Legends of Tomorrow or in The Flash, or I don't know, because he's not a full hero, but he's another character that they have in there with abilities and powers. I'm sure they're not going to use him once and never again, because they could have some interesting stories with magic and stuff.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I feel like he's one of the more popular DC characters that people know about. I mean, he's had a movie after him, and he also has a TV show, you know, that didn't last too long, but, you know, in fairness, it was on NBC on a Friday night schedule, you know, at like 10 o'clock in the afternoon, so I don't think it was really given a chance to really shine. But I mean, people know who Constantine is and whatnot, and so I definitely think this could get traction. I don't know whether or not the CW would ever actually branch off and do a Constantine show, especially with Supernatural going on right now, and it's just very similar kind of thing.
Well, yeah, but I'd imagine that, you know, Supernatural's been going on for so long that they could just kind of use Constantine as a natural successor to the show, because I mean, it wasn't huge on NBC, but I mean, you know, a small NBC show is still pretty big compared to a big CW show, you know? I mean, does that make any sense?
Yeah. It would. I think it would do well in CW.
Yeah,
as well.
I think, you know, if his return on Arrow is, you know, met with lots of reception and applause, I think it makes sense for them to try and give his show another shot.
Yeah, but then again, you know, I guess Warner Brothers could always, you know, if he's going to be in a Justice League, they seem to be giving a lot of their characters the shaft on the DC TV that are going to be in upcoming movies.
Yeah.
And so hopefully they won't do that with Constantine, because, you know, it would be kind of a wasted opportunity, I believe. And Matt Ryan was, if you haven't seen the Constantine NBC show, it is fabulous. He's great in that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they're tying Constantine's his appearance in the show into Sarah Lance and her resurrection back to White Canary, I guess they're calling her, which will obviously tie into Legends of Tomorrow. And it seems like the first few episodes of season 4 are all focused around her coming back to life, which is ironic when the first few episodes of season 3 were all about her being murdered. So we've come full circle.
Huh.
Obviously.
Yeah.
I didn't know about that until just right now. Okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, somebody's not paying attention.
Yeah, obviously not. I still got it. How about all of season 1 of Constantine to catch up on? So
I'm not really excited about Sarah Lance
You're not
revival.
a fan of the character, are you?
I'm not a fan of the character at all.
Well, not the character, more the actress.
Well, I can get over the actress, but I mean, kind of, I don't know. I don't think she's that great of an actress. That's just my opinion. Some people love her. Hey, that's great.
Well, she's on the CW for a reason.
And well, I mean, Brandon Ruth makes, he shines on Arrow.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just compared to the rest of the CW actors, he looks like a god on there. It's so bad sometimes. It's like, wow, this guy can actually act. And but back to Sarah Lance. Yeah, I don't know. And now that they have her sister as the Black Canary, I just kind of feel like her resurrection is kind of pointless. Because they had this whole thing about how like Laurel kept it from her dad last season and like created a divide, and it's like, well, now they're just kind of going back on that, which, oh hey, just bring her back, la-di-da, everything's fine. I'm sure it won't be, but they'll hopefully the writers won't crap on this coming up season like they did last season.
I'm sure they will sort some things out this time. But we'll move on from Arrow, that's all we really have, to just a small piece about the Flash. They showed their first look at Jay Garrick.
Woohoo!
In basically his Silver Age costume.
Mm-hmm.
Or even the Golden Age, I guess, actually.
Yeah, that wasn't a sarcastic woohoo either. Like, I mean, I think it's actually pretty cool looking.
Yeah, it is.
I think everyone's excited.
I'm sure there's some people who are like, I
looks
wanted
amazing.
his Earth 2 costume, because the hat's dumb. And I'm like, you shut
I
the
really
hell
liked
the hat's the best part.
Yeah, I really liked the poster they had for it, kind of the nod to the comic book cover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The very famous one that.
Flash of two.
Yeah, if you don't know what it looks like, then shame.
We can probably get it posted up here, flashed on the screen. Yeah, but I think that's really cool. And then they mentioned that Earth 2 is going to be playing a larger part early on in the season, much earlier than what most people expected. And I think that's really cool because when you bring in oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I always expected season 2 to start with him in Earth 2 because I expected, well, the portal, we saw his hat come through, so surely the portal leads at least somewhere in the multiverse, and it would make sense since they've shown Jay Garrick existing that it would lead to Earth 2, and season 2 would start with Barry waking up or whatever, or just running into Earth 2, and then maybe the first few episodes or even just the first episode would deal with him getting back to his Earth and possibly bringing Jay Garrick with him or something like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. That'd be pretty cool too.
I figured, I kind of always figured it would start with Earth 2, just because, I mean, it seems like at the end of the season he's running into the portal.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I kind of figured he would get sucked in, and just that's what I felt like. So I didn't think like they would waste their time on it. I'm glad they're not.
Mm-hmm.
I never expected them to start season 2 up and Barry just wakes up in his Earth, and we don't see Earth 2 till like ages on in the show, and it's some completely different reason that a portal opens up between the two. So it makes a lot more sense that it's immediate rather than a few episodes in.
Yeah.
Is that all you have? Any other comments?
Nope.
Nope. I believe so.
Next, Powerless is an interesting one, like an office type comedy, talking head camera type show, set in the DC universe from NBC. It's a bit different.
Yeah, they said that was in the same vein as like The Office, which I think is really cool.
Yeah. I guess they're trying to kind of put in that filler there because they lost. I mean, The Office is off now, and so is Park and Rec.
Constantine.
I'm not sure how I'm not sure how I feel about it because, like, The Office was kind of like a. To me, the U.S. Office is kind of like a. I don't know. It's really hard to replicate that. It was just so good. It was absolutely phenomenal. And the Parks and Rec, when it first came out, wasn't too happy about it because at the very beginning it was very much like The Office, but it ended up turning out better.
It came into its own as well.
Yeah, it came on its own, and so that kind of gives me hope for this. If
sure
they go forward with this,
like it, because we'll see. I'm hoping we'll see like D-class superheroes and stuff showing up and things like that happening.
Yeah.
I mean, I got an idea. They can put Ambush Bug in it because Ambush Bug is the dumbest character ever, and he totally makes sense in this kind of thing. I doubt that will happen, but I've got.
What I don't like about DC TV is I don't like how any of it is like not connected. Like Supergirl's not going to be connected with Flash and Arrow, and this probably won't be connected with anything else. And so I think it would be cool to, like, you know, if they could be connected, which they're probably not going to because they're going to be on different channels or whatever. It would be cool to see them connected, like, you know, have them mention Barry and Oliver and
I think
Kara.
I mean, I think with like something like Supergirl, that does make a whole lot of sense to not connect it, especially with Constantine under the same roof now as Arrow. But I guess with this, you know, because it's going to be so far off and so different, I don't think there's a huge necessity value to connecting it as with, you know, say something else like Supergirl.
I mean, I always felt Supergirl, I didn't feel would make a lot of sense putting into the CW verse, mainly because it mentions Superman a lot, and Superman doesn't exist in the CW verse, and if he did, it would be a very different universe, because the Flash right now is potentially the most powerful being, and that's what a lot of that show is about, and having Superman just in the background somewhere wouldn't really make a lot of sense. And with this show, I feel like it's the opposite of, like, I feel if this show was connected to the CW verse, they'd be more limited as to what they can do, because in this they can just say any character did anything, and then because it's in an, I don't know if we mentioned it, it's in an insurance company, so they're dealing with like people having claims about like a superhero or supervillain like blowing up their apartment building and all that kind of stuff, so they can like mention anyone they want, and they don't have to be held back by what characters exist within the CW verse or within the universe that Supergirl takes place in and stuff like that. So I feel like in that respect it benefits from it, if that makes sense.
I get what you mean. It adds more depth to it, more or less.
So from one DC universe to another, the DC Expanded Universe, and Henry Cavill confirmed that, well, what I've thought for a while is that the movies are all tied together within each other, and it's not so much a movie to movie plotline, it's more just there's a kind of overarching story, but each thing in itself is an individual thing.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, you've seen Marvel's done that, you know, in Phase 2 mainly, you know, aside from maybe like Iron Man 3 and Thor the Dark World, stuff like
start of Phase 2 didn't really tie into much after that.
Well, you know, I guess I take that back. Guardians didn't connect, hardly connected at all.
Yeah, although a lot of the Phase 2 stuff wasn't really connecting to each other in the sense that it had a payoff at the end, but more all of it was leading up to Phase 2. I mean Phase 3, sorry, with the Infinity Gauntlet and stuff. Yeah,
so I guess in that perspective, but stuff like Ant-Man, that really was like a foundation builder for the MCU and Phase 3, because it had its own plot within it, but then it had like a greater kind of MCU scale to it, which I really liked. So I kind of get the vibe from, his comments on this.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, we had Zack Snyder say last week he had the whole thing mapped out and everything. So then this is just more of a confirmation, because there's a lot of skeptical people out there, that say, oh well, I'm not sure if Warner Brothers really has a plan, or whatever. And I think like over the past couple weeks, we've had some confirmation that there is a plan. They're just doing it a little bit differently than Marvel, which is not bad.
Yeah.
Because they announced that Justice League starts pre-production in January, is it? I think.
Yeah.
They said.
Yep.
So we're starting to build up the DC expanded universe.
Yeah.
Pretty quick.
Well, Marvel's really does feel like a universe, because they've got their stuff all stretched out in different corners, and not all of it ties together, and some of it ties very well together. DC seems to just be kind of one giant arc, if that makes any sense. Like I don't think you'll ever find a guard. Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have two different approaches, because like I don't think you'll ever find a Guardians in the DCEU where a film won't really have a lot of relevance to the rest of the universe.
Green Lantern could, depending on where they set it. I mean, obviously Hal Jordan will still have ties to the Justice League and stuff, but if they set that as just a normal Green Lantern movie, which usually, well, not a normal Green Lantern movie, a normal Green Lantern story, usually it doesn't take place on Earth, it takes place in space with some crazy cosmic villain. So they could potentially set that up as their kind of Guardians of the Galaxy type storyline, where there's a load of dodgy alien characters and it takes place far away from Earth.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, yeah. So, yeah.
Well, it still probably wouldn't be as far detached as Guardians of the Galaxy is.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing that Guardians was detached, just, it's one of those coincidences.
Speaking of the MCU.
Segway. We got kind of our first look at Black Panther, kind of, and the Winter Soldier on set from where they are right now, Germany, I think.
I think they're in Berlin.
There was tons of pictures of like Panther climbing on a wall, and so Winter Soldier, and I think the suit's gonna look really, really well done after it's finished post production.
Yeah, but those are stunt suits, so they're not the final product. They got to be modified.
As I saw someone say on Twitter, though, I mean, there's a Batman stunt suit and a Deadpool stunt suit and a Captain America stunt suit, and they all look almost identical to the normal suit. Whereas this one has, I feel quite a bulky helmet.
Well,
at least.
Remember Ultron looked like
but Ultron was
weird.
like a guy in like a big jacket with just a big piece of like metal
and people,
on top of him.
Yeah, well,
people were freaking out about it. It's like, come on, guys, trust Marvel. They know what they're doing.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just not sure how they're going to fit CGI into Black Panther.
Well, you just kind of slim them down, because to be fair, when you look at something like Deadpool or the Batman stuff, they're not scaling up, these giant walls and have all these harnesses on. I mean, they do have harnesses, but they're not huge like we saw with the Black Panther suit. Like, he had to have a lot of baggage on that, so it seems like there's going to be a lot of editing involved with that scene in particular, at least.
Well,
and then
today we saw, but we didn't see, some lucky folks saw, the first ever trailer for Civil War at D23. We've seen some descriptions of it online. What do you guys think?
It sounded cool. I mean, I wasn't really expecting anything like, I know some people wanted to see Spidey and Zemo and all these different people, but I mean...
I didn't expect Zemo.
Yeah, well, some people, because I know people like El Mayembe has been going on about how he's going to have such a big role in it and stuff, but people like Variety and the trades have been mentioning that he's a cameo, so if he does have a small part, they're definitely not going to show any of it in the trailers.
Yeah.
So that wasn't really a surprise.
No.
I'll take Variety over the former. But yeah, I didn't expect to see Spider-Man. I think they'll kind of hold off on that one. That's kind of their golden apple right now. especially since they just got the rights. But
yeah, because I got horrible thought today when I realised they weren't showing Spider-Man today, and I remembered that with the Vision, we didn't see the Vision really until Age of Ultron came out, and then they started releasing pictures of him properly. I hope to God that they do not do that with Spider-Man, because I want to see that costume before it's in the movie, and I doubt that they'll be able to hold off on it so much, because there'll be action figures galore and stuff. So hopefully we'll see Spider-Man before the movie.
I'm really interested to see how like deep. I guess they said there wasn't going to be too deep of a movie, but like there's a lot of conflict in this movie, not just like fighting, but between people. Like Scarlet Witch and Vision are on opposite sides, and nothing has happened officially in the MCU, but you comic fans know that they end up together.
It's messed up, man. It's messed up.
Black Widow and Hawkeye are on opposing teams, and actually the footage was said that he was choking the Widow, and she like did one of her corny lines that said, "Are we still friends?" As he was choking her. Kind of thing.
Depends how hard you hit me.
And there's also apparently someone's going to be a double agent.
Black Panther, maybe, because
well, he's not really on a side. He wasn't listed on either one side. I think she would be the one that everyone thinks it is, and I kind of think Marvel is going to kind of play the card where we're going to make you think it's Black Widow, but it's going to be someone you don't expect.
Well,
it's Captain America.
It's Captain America.
He's double agent on his own side.
Like, it would like really shock me if like Falcon or someone close to Cap was like, because I think it'll be someone on Cap's side that is going to be the double agent. And it was announced today that this is going to be the last Captain America movie as well. This was the third out of the trilogy.
I think a lot of people expect.
Well, when they say double agent, do they mean like your classic spy sense, or kind of like Spidey was a double agent in the actual comic? Like I guess it depends on that, because I know he wasn't like, when I say double agent, I meant kind of like a side switcher thing. That was my bad.
I feel like
that's kind of. I kind of like when I heard double agent, I meant someone like I think they mean someone like that's on one side,
but actually
and they're kind of just actually working for.
Okay, I kind of interpreted it as like somebody that's going to switch sides, but yeah, you're right. So I redact that
definitely
Black Panther.
Definitely would act as kind of a good story arc for the film, and I do think it'll be someone on Cap's side, and I think it'll kind of lead, because I could see them killing off Captain America in this one. Like, it would be a shock to a lot of people, but I think Marvel kind of needs that. I could see them keeping Captain America, but we all know he dies in the comic.
Well, technically, he doesn't die in Civil War.
Well, yeah. He gets shot. Whether how close they'll stay to the source material or whatnot.
I imagine they'll do that in part 1 of the Infinity War. I feel like that you kind of need Steve to launch
Captain
it.
America's assassination.
I feel like it had to come towards the end, because if Infinity War is going to be an overarching story, I feel like that makes sense to put it, midway through, because I feel like you need Steve to launch that whole entire story. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Like, he's kind of the, he's the, definitive Avenger. You can't kick off something like that without him. You can finish it without him, but I don't think that you can really start that whole event.
I'm sure a lot of people would say Iron Man takes that place, since he started the MCU. And a lot of people say, if he started it, he finishes it.
Alright, so...
that's enough talking that. Well, one small thing quickly. The Ant-Man scene sounds amazing and brilliant, and Ant-Man's the best Avenger. Let's move on now to Fox, and specifically the
Fox.
greatest
Everyone's favorite
superhero movie possibly ever. I mean, amazing reviews, stellar. Better than The Dark Knight I've seen some places. Fantastic Four. Fox, no surprise to anyone, Fox are moving ahead with a sequel to, I mean, it made so much money, they could probably finance the sequel off of the first one. But seriously, though, that movie did terribly, and I'm glad they're working on a sequel. I was surprised, but I'm glad, because I feel like there's more to tell in that universe, and it deserves a sequel, because it's not a bad movie like everyone else says it is. It's an okay movie that has a lot of bad decisions made about it, but it's not terrible, and it deserves someone else to come in, take these characters, this universe, and kind of put a band-aid on it and send it on its way, and prepare it up and make it look nice, because the first one didn't do that great of a job. They set it up, but someone needs to take it on and do a proper Fantastic Four story where they're the Fantastic Four.
And of course, for all you loyal listeners, we do have a Fantastic Four review, spoiler-free, and one with spoiler in it. If you haven't checked that out, please do so.
That's a shameless
right there. Plug. But yeah, Fox is going to really have to convince me with this next sequel. Wasn't too fond of this movie. I think it started, and I've said this in the review, I thought it started off well, and then you could tell that it just went to crap. So they're really going to have to convince me with the sequel for me to go see it. Because it's just, it's got so much negativity around it, and a lot of people just are like, why are they doing this? I see everywhere on the internet, it's just, most of it is just like, well, revert the rights or whatever and whatnot. And we have seen, because Sony said the same thing about Spider-Man. Yeah, we're going to do an Amazing Spider-Man 3, but then they gave the rights over. So I don't think anything's really set in stone yet.
Yeah, I mean, that franchise is a big, that's a bugaboo in Hollywood right now. I mean, I think if I'm Fox, I go and ask Bryan Singer or Matthew Vaughn if they want anything to do with it. And if they don't, then you just leave that property alone. Like, you don't tell, because I don't think you're going to find anybody outside of Fox or outside that, X-Men universe that'll want to be a part of it after all the drama that's gone on with this. So I think that you just let that sit and wait for years and let the stink go away.
And it's not even like Spider-Man, where Spider-Man's had good movies. Like, Fantastic Four has never really gained lots of traction in any of the versions Fox has tried.
Yeah,
I enjoyed the first one, not the 2000
1994 one.
The old one they made just to get the right back. I watched that. It's okay. Again, it's got some interesting things in it. It's weird how they had, like, Reed Richards is a really old guy, and Sue Storm's like a kid at one point in the movie, and that was kind of weird and creepy. And he's like, hey, I'm going to take you kids out to space. And then he ends up, like, making out with her, and they get married and stuff. And I'm like, that's weird,
it's like
Reed.
Old Herbert the Pervert.
Yeah, he's like 40 and she's like 20. That's just messed up. But, yeah, they're making...
I can stretch something for you.
Supposedly making a sequel.
Yeah, that's... Well, I think we also saw that they were considering... we got one report saying that they were switching it with a Deadpool sequel, which I think more people are keen to see, just based off of the first trailer, than a Fantastic Four sequel. And then we saw that they were moving ahead with it anyway.
Wait, back really quick to Old Man Reed. Having the ability to stretch is the best ability for an old man.
Oh my god!
Because you don't.
Let's not get into anything there.
You don't have to take Viagra or anything.
But away from the sequel, I don't want to spend too much time on this. Josh Trank, a lot of stuff's been coming out about him. He should probably start finding a few good lawyers in Hollywood, because some of the stuff that's coming out about him doesn't put him in the best of lights for respective companies picking him up for new movies.
Yeah, he kind of put himself in a corner to the point where he's going to have to be a lifetime indie director until he can prove his maturity on, behind and in front of the camera.
I don't think that's a bad thing.
I definitely think that he was shafted, and what Fox did was wrong. But at the same time, as a director, you're kind of in charge of everything there. You have to show a level of professionalism with any job you have. You have to show professionalism, and like it was just recently put. It might have been today. Where him and Miles Teller got into it together, and there was reports saying they were like chest to chest, waiting for someone to punch, or whatever. And so
punch.
You can't do that, especially to your actors, because then it really affects their performance within the movie.
And there's also the fact that I don't think it's such a bad thing that if he ends up doing indie movies, because I don't feel like Trank's completely ready to keep doing big budget movies. I think he hit a good streak with Chronicle, because Chronicle was his idea. Fox didn't have a lot riding on it. It was found footage kind of style, so it wasn't a huge budget. They could take a little bit away on the effects because it wasn't a great quality picture and stuff.
Yeah.
Fantastic Four was, Fox needed that to do well. Obviously it didn't, but they wanted that to do well so they could start up the franchise easily and not the kind of hitting roadblocks every 5 feet like they are now.
Yeah, he's basically committed career suicide.
Yes.
It's very bad. Yeah. Very bad for him. And it's a shame, because I really liked Chronicle.
Yeah.
And,
I definitely feel like it wasn't completely Trank's fault that the movie ended up like that. I feel like there's definitely problems on Fox's side as well as Trank's side. Whoever had the most problems with, I don't know, but no one was in the right completely. And there was no bad guy, good guy scenario. They didn't handle it as well as they could have.
Yeah, at this point, I want to say that's what you get for making a movie with no vision behind it, but that sounds kind of douchey in and on its own. But so, yeah, if you're going to make a movie, put it in its best light to succeed. Not...
Yeah, and as of now, the movie only has 75 million worldwide.
Oh,
hasn't even. It probably won't cross 100 million, to be honest.
Worldwide or domestically?
Worldwide.
Oh my God.
75. Yeah. Yeah, it didn't even pick up traction this week.
Ooh, that's a shame.
But anyway, this is just depressing talking about this movie. We'll move on to something that's just awesome and completely amazing in every way. Star Wars.
The best. Star Wars is the best.
It's quite possible. I'm sure it's not like you can compete with DC and Marvel. Star Wars is like... There's no war there. Star Wars, everyone's like, yes, Star Wars is the best.
I'm actually more excited for The Force Awakens than I am Civil War or Batman vs Superman. I know that's controversial. I'm sure
you get a lot of people who are like that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Absolutely love Star Wars. I play the Old Republic and stuff like that, so I'm a huge Star Wars fan. Just a massive Star Wars fan.
There's a lot of Star Wars stuff to talk about. It's not big pieces, but there's some cool things. First up is Kylo Ren, the main sort of Sith villain of The Force Awakens and hopefully the full trilogy. He's a bit of a Darth Vader fanatic almost, and J.J. Abrams said that basically his mask is a callback to Darth Vader's mask, and his lightsaber's been handcrafted. And I don't know if this was confirmed before. I'm sure we talked about it at least. That his lightsaber is slightly. It doesn't look as clean as a normal lightsaber. It's got like little lightning bolt type things coming off it, and it looks. It's handmade, which is quite interesting, and it seems like Kylo Ren's journey, and hopefully this full trilogy, is kind of a dark mirror of Luke Skywalker's journey, where in the beginning Luke Skywalker starts off as someone who gets given a lightsaber and isn't too great with it, and by the end becomes sort of Jedi Master Luke Skywalker. And I hope we'll see that kind of journey with Kylo Ren, where in the beginning of the movie, although he looks quite menacing and pretty damn powerful and scary, he's still working out the kinks in the dark side of the Force, and by the end of it we'll see him as a full-fledged evil dude.
Yeah, I mean, Kylo Ren, I mean, you could ignore the original cast being back in this new film. I mean, I'm sold on, on the film just based off of Kylo Ren. The one...
Adam Driver.
Yeah, fantastic actor, too.
Great actor.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the one thing that I'm really worried about, or it's not so much so worry, it's just like a fret, is that we've heard talks of Benicio del Toro coming in as the villain for Episode 8. Oh, yeah.
I'm hoping that's just a sort of
side villain.
The Emperor Boba Fett type idea, where in the Empire Strikes Back, Boba Fett was brought in as a sort of villain character, but he was only really in it a little bit and wasn't a main replacement for Darth Vader or anything. And then the Emperor, we only fully properly saw him in Return of the Jedi. And I can't remember if he was played by a different actor or not, because I remember the early images. He looks like someone stuck plasticine to someone's face.
I kind of feel like that's what what's her face from Game of Thrones? Isn't she playing kind of like a
she's Captain
Phasma, yeah,
who looks like a sort of
Boba Fett
leader
role
of the stormtroopers.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like the New Order. That's what they're called, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
It seems like they're definitely more of a... Like the Empire, we never saw much of a ranking system as sort. There was like the Grand Moffs and the Stormtroopers and Darth Vader and the Emperor, and obviously the Emperor was at the top. But then there was kind of a grey zone between the Grand Moffs and Darth Vader. I feel like with this New Order, we'll definitely see Captain Phasma, who's she's the captain of all the Stormtroopers. But then we'll see Kylo Ren, who just recently announced he's a member of the Knights of Ren, who seem to be sort of like a Sith group. Hopefully that means we'll be seeing multiple Siths in these movies, which would be awesome to see a bunch of red lightsabers fighting a bunch of coloured lightsabers. So possibly he isn't even a full-fledged member of the New Order, and he's more just aligned with them because he likes what they're doing, and he's not so much a leader in it, he's more... They tell him what to do, and he begrudgingly does some of it, and does some of it, and maybe some tension and stuff in between them. And then there's the Irish actor, Domhnall
Gleeson. Yeah, he's playing General Hux.
Yeah, so it seems like he'll have a high-ranking position in the New Order. So I feel like, although there's quite a lot of evil, villainous, leader-like characters, I feel like they'll all play their own certain part in this mechanics of the New Order and how everyone's ranked and stuff. And obviously Benicio del Toro will probably be added to that. Or maybe he'll be a completely different villain, not at all connected to the New Order, which would be interesting to see.
Yeah. And as Blackjack said, still doesn't know what he wants to do with his career.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so anyway, I kind of forget my point halfway through, but yeah, I'm just hoping, because you remember how much Darth Maul was marketed for Episode 1, and then he ended up...
he doesn't turn into Darth Maul.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that Kylo Ren isn't, he doesn't have that Darth Maul syndrome where he's built up like a great villain and then he's not in there at all. I'm hoping that he's in the trilogy from beginning to end and he's the main foe. I'm really hoping...
Like that mirror of Luke Skywalker's journey makes me hope that there's more coming for Kylo Ren than just one movie. Yeah,
well, I mean, I'm sure he'll be in there from all 3 movies. I'm just hoping that he's a large presence more so. I hope that makes sense.
I hope we'll see him. Yeah. I'm sure. I'm hopeful we'll see him grow in the movies just as much as we see the good guys grow as characters. But we'll move on from Kylo Ren to we'll talk just briefly on this. Luke Skywalker's costume was fully revealed. Have you guys all seen it?
Yeah,
it was a leak.
Yeah. Not properly revealed. It was some dude took a picture of it and it got taken pretty fast. So Luke Skywalker's costume. What do you guys think?
Kind of looks like Obi-Wan with Grey in it. I like it. I mean,
I'm glad. It's brighter Cause
kind of expected it to kind of be like more close to Obi-Wan in the fourth movie, the old Ben Kenobi. And I kind of expected him to kind of be sort of like that, because I mean he is old and he's kind of fulfilling that role now.
Although I was scared that, because I mean there was a few tiny rumors that because we hadn't seen Luke Skywalker, there was like, oh, what if he's turned to the dark side? I'm like, no, that would be stupid. That wouldn't make sense, because the whole point of the Return of the Jedi is like, hell no, Dad, I'm a Jedi.
Yeah.
And obviously Luke Skywalker's Jedi outfit was black, completely black. So I'm glad to see that a complete switch of that, and he's got really light browns and cream colours and stuff, and he looks like a proper Jedi master.
Yep, and they didn't.
Completely on the light side.
And another thing, as we move on, they didn't mention the last names.
No.
Either for any of the characters, so.
Including Kylo Ren, they said, because it could be possible that Ren's a title.
Yeah.
Which suggests that maybe it's connected to one of the original trilogy characters.
Ren is a title. It'd be from the
like
Knights of Ren.
Darth.
Yeah, because he's part of the Ren Order. Kind of makes me wonder if they're kind of adapting some of the old books that are no longer canon. But you know, we know that Han and Leia have 3 children. They have twins, a boy and a girl. One of them goes dark. We know the youngest one, I believe, is killed.
I'm not sure.
Whatever. Luke has a son as well. Don't remember a whole lot on that.
I think his son went to the dark side at some point,
I think so
and
as
then
well.
came back.
Because I remember his wife dying, but I don't think they're gonna introduce Mara Jade, which is a shame because she was a great character.
I feel like Luke will probably be an old man who's on his own with R2-D2 and stuff. I doubt we'll see him in a sort of relationship with any children, but I think because there was a lot of rumours about, what's her name? The female main character.
Daisy the actress or the character name?
What's the character's name?
I forget it. Oh my god!
R?
Oh my god! I just knew this too. Hold on.
Well,
Isn't it Rey?
Rey, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of talk. Maybe she's Han and Leia's daughter.
There's talk that she's Skywalker's daughter as well. I mean, fan theories are gonna throw around. I actually think that he has a child, because the way he was talking, like in the trailer that we saw, you know, my father had it, I have it, and now you had it. It sounds like someone would, like a father would talk to.
I'm not sure. I feel like he's probably maybe talking to John Boyega's character Finn, and more of like a. Because I mean, we saw in the poster that was revealed at D23 today, he was holding a lightsaber, and it was most people assumed by this point that he would be the Jedi character that would take us through this trilogy. And I feel like Luke maybe talking to him is more of like a legacy type idea where my father was a great Jedi, I was a great Jedi, and now you will be a great Jedi. Because we haven't. I was hoping this movie we would have a sort of new Jedi Order, but from what we've seen, there isn't. There doesn't seem to be a lot of that. So possibly Finn is the first new Jedi in a while.
Well, wasn't it revealed or something like that? And never mind.
Okay. Maybe. I guess Rey. I always kind of figured Rey was going to be the Jedi, but might not be the case.
I don't know.
They both could be force sensitive, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, if she is the daughter of Han and Leia or Luke, either way, she's still going to have some ability with the Force, since Leia does too. We just never really see it utilised in the movies at all. But I feel like Finn will probably be the main Jedi. Although, that said, Rey we also saw had that, I mean, in a lot of the things, she has the staff type thing. And I was wondering, maybe that's got a lightsaber in it or something. Like, built into it.
I don't know. Maybe I think you're kind of thinking a little too much. But
yeah, there's still a good trailer and or two away. So
I mean, they're gonna build these characters through these 3 movies, I imagine. Hopefully. So I'm sure we'll see more.
Yeah. We'll move on from that to the Han Solo, which is controversial in many opinions. I'm looking forward to it. They've announced that they're aiming for a 20-ish-year-old actor, or character at least, in that movie.
Chris Pratt.
To play. Well, how old is he? I'm sure he's older than 20.
I know a lot of fan casting had him for it, but it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, I always said I wanted. What's his?
The Kingsman.
Sorry, guys. It's just we're not gonna see Chris Pratt as Han Solo.
No, I wouldn't want him to play. I don't think he has the Han Solo feel about him.
No, he doesn't. I mean, yeah, it's not even.
He's more comedic than he is a
grungy, almost.
Rogue type character. Oh, that's annoying me that I've forgotten that I had it, and then every time I go to say it, I keep...
From Kingsman, right? Tyron.
No, I don't want him. I think he's too young.
Oh. Well, he fits in the age range.
I know.
I'm not... While you're thinking about that, I'm not really keen on this movie. I think Blackjack said it in an article or something, that like Yoda and Han Solo should never have a prequel, and I'm kind of in the same light as that. I kind of like the air of mystery around him and whatever, and I don't know. It's just a character that I don't think really needs a prequel.
Yeah. All in this.
If I'm honest, I can't really be arsed with all that. Oh, it's mysterious, so we don't care. I mean, Yoda, I'll agree. I feel like Yoda, you don't need to touch it. Han Solo, sure, I'm quite interested to see how Han Solo became Han Solo, how he got the Millennium Falcon. I mean, we obviously know that he got it from Lando, but I'd like to see that actually happen. I'd like to see how he meets Chewbacca, because there was a lot of expanded universe stuff about how it happens, and no one moaned when that happened, which I find quite funny. But it'd been cool to see it in a movie, how this all came about, and get a new version of it, because the expanded universe, as we said, doesn't exist anymore. Also, Tom Hardy, that's who I thought I wanted to play him. Obviously, now that they've said that age range, he doesn't really fit into it.
I guess
that's who I'd like to see play Han Solo.
I guess Boba Fett would be the villain. Maybe?
Yeah, that's what I said, and then I got, oh no, there's no connection between Han Solo and Boba Fett, but I still feel like they have history together, and it'd be interesting to see them.
I mean, I guess Star Wars needs to make Boba Fett more interesting, because he's a very boring character.
I like him. He's an awesome character.
He just kind of sits there and nods his head and does nothing.
Yeah, well, I think Josh Trank's, the film that he got kicked off of, was going to be a Boba Fett film. So I don't think it would have been him as a villain.
Did he say that?
No, it's just rumored, and they never.
Boba Fett. Yeah, because I always assumed Josh Trank was working on the Han Solo movie, and that they got Phil Lord and Chris Miller to replace him in that. But I guess it could make sense that they were working on that movie as Josh Trank was working on his movie, and then when Josh Trank got pulled, they're still trying to find someone to do this Boba Fett movie. But I always assumed that Josh Trank was working on the Han Solo one. But we'll move on from Han Solo to Episode 9. And again today at D23 they announced that Colin Trevorrow, I'm not sure.
It's one of those two.
Is one of them. Pick and choose. We'll edit it out. No, we won't. Is directing Episode 9. So he did Jurassic World's his most recent movie. What's the other one he did? I've not seen it.
Oh man! Oh my God! Safety Not Guaranteed. I believe it is.
Yeah. I mean, I've not seen that. I'm not sure what it is, but I enjoy Jurassic World, and if he can bring the same kind of callbacks to the original Jurassic Worlds, but while still continuing the story and making a great movie, to Star Wars and finishing off that trilogy with a bang, then I'm excited, because I feel like he did a great Jurassic Park sequel to the original Jurassic Park. He could definitely do a great Star Wars. I mean, they're obviously two different beasts, but in the same nostalgia type vein, I feel like he could do a good job with Star Wars.
I'd like to see. I personally would like to see Abrams back for the 9th one. That's just because I love J.J. Abrams, but I mean, this is a safe choice for Disney. I'm sure Abrams is the reason why he's not doing the other two. I know family stuff, and he's probably got other stuff lined up, and these take a lot of time away. But
I quite like the fact that they're getting different directors for each movie, because it will give them a slightly different feel to them, although it's continuing the one story. Whereas with the original movies, although The Empire Strikes Back, it was directed by someone other than Lucas, I think, but every other movie has always had Lucas at the helm. And it worked in the original trilogy, and maybe in the prequel trilogy you'd agree that, or disagree.
I just hope these
that it wasn't so good having the same director, but
well, I think
it's cool having different ones.
I just hope these other two directors kind of do the Lucas and Abrams approach, where they don't like do CGI and stuff like that.
Well,
They use the props
and
everything, because I really think it does kind of give Star Wars kind of. I think it makes a difference in any movie, and it kind of would be a different movie than your normal Star Wars movie if that wasn't the case.
I mean, I'm sure J.J. Abrams will still be a part of those movies to some
definitely
respect, because I doubt he'll be like, I've made the first one, I'm leaving Star Wars Spy. I'm sure you'll still be in the background and be like, well, that character probably wouldn't do that thing, or that character would do this thing.
I'm sure,
so
I'm sure Abrams will be
and he'll be like, look man, you can't do full CGI. Look at any comments and you'll see the fans, not a huge fan of CGI all in the prequels, or even adding it into the original trilogy, so make a lot of it practical. I mean, Jurassic World, it had some practical stuff in it, right? With dinosaurs and things.
Yeah.
So it's hopefully a good sign for Star Wars.
Wait, did you guys say that the original trilogy had Lucas directing through all three of them?
No.
Okay.
I know The Empire Strikes Back definitely wasn't.
Oh, okay.
directed by him.
Good. I thought you guys did, and I was going to say, oh, that's not exactly true.
But that's all we really have to talk about that one. And our final piece is, we got our first look at Rogue One, and a few new casting announcements as well. So, what do you guys think of our first look at the movie?
I'm really excited. It kind of looks like I know it looks like a really Firefly-esque type of thing.
Yeah.
And I'm a huge fan of that series, so pretty excited about Rogue One.
Yeah.
There's not much information to really go off of Rogue One, and so I don't know if I can talk about it for 5 minutes. But but I mean, from the first look, it looks kind of like a grittier, kind of like Firefly-ish type movie.
Yeah. I mean, just like you said, I mean, there's not a whole lot to say, but I mean, it's the only spin-off film that I'm personally looking forward to. But yeah, the cast is, I think, the most interesting part. I mean, the premise is nice, and some of that teaser footage, that some of it leaked. I think it was earlier this year. I think in the spring. That was really interesting, but the cast is really what has me hooked in. Between Alan Tudyk and oh my god, how did I forget her name?
Felicity Jones.
Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't. Totally blanked.
Oh no, I just know because I'm looking at the cast list here. I'd probably never remember it because I'm terrible with names. I mean, I think it's cool because it's definitely got that original trilogy vibe where everything's sort of pieced together almost. Nothing's new, nothing's kind of fancy. Everything looks kind of worn and dark, and they're not wearing like uniforms as such. They're all wearing just random pieces of clothing together. But the one thing I found really interesting is Donnie Yen's character. He's holding a staff, And if you look, the staff it's mainly wood, but it has a metal piece in the middle and a metal piece at the top. And I know there's been a lot of stuff where it's the complete absence of the Jedi, but at least in the expanded universe, before there was a sort of a lightsaber type staff idea like this, and his eyes are completely whited out, and maybe he's blind, maybe he's just whatever, but it kind of seems like he possibly has some sort of ties to the Force, and he's wearing a sort of robe type thing, so it'd be kind of cool to see sort of like not even like a Jedi, but because I mean there's other races that are tied to the Force and other kind of groups that are tied to the Force other than just the Jedi and the Sith, like the Night Sisters and stuff. So it'd be cool to see another kind of group, or at least a person from that group who is connected to the Force and has a lightsaber type thing, but isn't exactly a out and out Jedi or Sith.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean that's the upside to doing all these different kind of spin-offs. I mean, as long as they're not, origin stories, if you can put them and make them more like Rogue One, then you can expand the universe like they're supposed to, instead of narrow it down with all these different origin stories.
And the cool thing about Rogue One is that it's kind of the first female character-driven Star Wars movie, which I'm sure will get a lot of the feminists on Tumblr going happy.
Yeah.
But it's quite.
Maybe.
It's quite,
I know Rey has a lot of the spotlight in the new.
She also, I mean, in
Star
that
Wars
poster
movie.
reveal today, she's in the middle, like right at the front.
I actually feel like she's kind of the main character, at least for 7. So.
Yeah, I feel like her and John Boyega will be.
Because when they did the Anaheim convention, she was a lot of the center of attention. So.
Yeah. Which I'm for it, because Daisy Ridley looks. I haven't personally seen her in anything, but
definitely.
She looks like a really charismatic actor. And I believe that is it for tonight.
Yeah, that's all we have. No other news, unfortunately. I expected more from D23. I expected this episode to be chock-a-block with Spider-Man review and loads of Star Wars stuff, but kind of disappointing, to be honest, from D23. But some cool stuff from Star Wars and Marvel.
Yep. A lot of Pixar stuff.
A lot of Pixar. Incredibles 2 is happening. That's cool. But
a lot of Pixar sequels.
Yes, a lot of sequels, including Cars 3, which I didn't know existed, and I'm really confused as to why that exists.
Yeah, it makes money.
It does. It makes a lot of money. But yeah, that is us for episode 5 of the Comic Couch podcast. Auf Wiedersehen.
Alright, have a good one.
Something.